us once again. And tonight, I want to touch on the topic of general elections. Over the weekend, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Saab speaking during the handing over of the ferry terminal and market in Union Island said that elections in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will come before year end. This is something we all suspected. So this afternoon, I would like to look at the results of the 2020 elections and engage the audience in telling us how they feel the results will go in the various constituencies. Now, this conversation that I want to have tonight was spurred by a comment someone made on social media a few days ago. And the comment was, how does it feel when a politician contesting a seat knows for a fact that they are going to lose that seat? Now, I know some people argue that elections are won on election day. And everybody goes into an election with a clean slate and a chance. But that's not my opinion. Yes, everybody goes into the elections on a clean slate, but I don't think that everybody goes into the elections with a chance. I think there are certain seats that are just extremely bent on electing an individual or electing a party that is contesting. And that has been proven time and time again. Specifically since 2001, if we're not going to really go back, if we just only going to go back to 2001, specifically to 2001. So we can start off this evening by looking at the results in North Windward in 2020. And just for some context and information, let me just give a bit of a summary. So general elections were held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines on 5th of November 2020. Nomination day was 20th of October 2020, and the result was a victory for the Unity Labour Party. It's fifth in a row. The party won 9 of the 15 seats, gaining 1 seat. These elections marked the first time since 1998 that the party which received the most votes did not win the most seats, and the first time since 1994 that the New Democratic Party won the popular vote. This was a big talking point when the NDP won the popular vote, because before that there was a referendum that the NDP campaigned against that would have placed them in power if it had passed, because they had won the popular vote. So this was something that they had campaigned against, and they specifically said that, we campaigned against the referendum and we did not want the referendum because we were not able to pick out specific things that we wanted and what we didn't want. So it was just vote for the whole entire referendum or don't vote for it at all, because we couldn't pick out what we wanted. So they basically voted against that. So going on, in North Windward, let's look at the results in North Windward during the last elections. So in North Windward, which was contested by Montgomery Daniel, Mr. Montgomery Daniel, for the ULP, there were 6,887 registered voters, and there were 5,292 votes cast. 2,669 went to the ULP, and 2,607 went to the NDP. There were 16 rejected ballots. Now, this is one of the seats that, because of what some may consider the close margin between the two parties, basically the ULP won by 62 votes. So this is one of the seats that persons are saying seems to be up for grabs during the next general elections. I beg to differ. The last candidate, which is the same candidate for the NDP this time around, is Chevron John. And she will be going up not against Montgomery Daniel, but against Grace Walters. And a lot of people, well, a lot of NDP supporters and persons looking in from the outside who probably may not even support a political party seems to think that this is one of the toss-up seats. But as I said, I beg to differ. I don't think that there will be much change in this. There will be change in this seat for after the next general elections. I think that Ms. Walters has this one. Now, if we would move on to North Central Windward, there were 5,680 votes cast, 5,680 registered voters. Votes cast were 3,779, 2,872 which went to the ULP, 889 went to the NDP. There were 11 rejected ballots. Now, if we were to look at this this seat, we would all know that there's no chance of the NDP taking this seat. No chance whatsoever. Because we all know this is the seat that is held by no other than Prime Minister Dr. Afghan Saabs. And as I said, anybody looking on will know that definitely there's no way that this seat can be lost in elections. Speaking of Dr. Gonsalves, he has proven over and over again that he is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to elections and winning elections. And the party being led by Dr. Gonsalves has basically broken every record of any political party in the region. And I always tell people, I don't think it would have mattered where Dr. Gonsalves was born. I think that he would have been a force to reckon in any country he was born. It doesn't matter. He was born, in my opinion, that is, he was born to be a politician. And I don't think there is any way that, well, this is my opinion, as I would say again, right? I don't think once Dr. Gonsalves is around and contesting elections for the ULP, that the party is going to be defeated. As I said again, this is my opinion. I think the day that Dr. Gonsalves bows out of politics, that is when the New Democratic Party is going to feel extremely confident that they could win a next general election. I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but that's my opinion. That's what I'm here for, to give my opinion. So from my count, that's 2 seats for the Unity Labour Party in the next general elections. Now, in South Central Windward, there were 6,345 registered voters, 4,453 votes were cast, and 2,339 went to the ULP, 2,100 went to the NDP, 14 rejected ballots. I also think this is a safe seat for the ULP. As I said, some persons might not agree with me, but I do think this is also a safe seat. South Windward seat also, I also think it's a safe seat for the ULP. With last elections, 6,668 registered voters, 4,090 votes cast, 2,144 for the ULP, and 1,925 for the NDP, with 21 rejected. Politics in St. Vincent is I think there are instances when people say that the candidate matters. Yes, there are instances when the candidate matters, but I think a lot of people, if they're not certain about the candidate or they don't agree with the candidate, this is in relation to the ULP, that is not a situation where they would go and vote for the NDP. It's one of the two things. It's either they restrain from voting, they don't vote, or they vote because of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. And I think in several instances, it came down to persons voting for Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves in all the constituencies, not just his. As I said, this is my opinion. Maracay. Well, I heard Mr. Philip Jackson say today he's the New Democratic Party candidate in Maracay, and he's going up against Sinclair Jimmy Prince. And I heard him say today on radio that he knows for a fact that he's going to win that seat. I think that is a bit of wishful thinking. In the last elections in Maracay, there were 6,798 registered voters, 4,542 cast the votes, 2,441 for the ULP, 2,088 for the NDP, and 13 rejected. I don't think the voters in Maracay are going to swing towards the NDP. The thing is, Mr. Jackson, me and Mr. Jackson is related. That's my relative. But as I said to that, I think that he was doing a bit of wishful thinking when he was saying that he was going to beat Mr. Prince in that in the next general elections. What persons may also remember from the last elections with in Maracay, they had a bit of a squabble where Kirk De Silva, another one of my relatives, my uncle, actually, he had gained the nod by the constituency council in Maracay. And I could see why he would have gained the nod, because this is a man who, like Mr. Prince, was on the ground in that constituency probably every day. Mr. Prince is a stable face in the Maracay constituency. He's always there, and Mr. De Silva was also always there. He was at the shops playing dominoes with the guys. He was walking around in the community, so much so that he got the nod from the constituency council. But the NDP decided that they were not going to go with Mr. De Silva, and as a result, he parted ways with the NDP. I'm not sure their reasoning behind not going with Mr. De Silva, but I think that damaged the chances, not in winning the constituency per se, because I don't I don't think that Mr. De Silva would have racked up enough votes to beat Mr. Prince, but I think that he may have narrowed the margins a bit more than what it eventually came down to. Now, let's move on to East St. George. Any callers? Let's move on to East St. George. In East St. George, there were 8,636 registered voters, 5,576 votes were cast, 2,846 for the ULP, and 2,650 for the NDP. 54 were rejected. Now, this seat was, as I would put it, keenly contested. And a lot of people were upset because of the amount of votes that the ULP lost when it was compared to what they had in the previous election, in the 2015 elections. I think that after this reduction in votes in that constituency, East St. George, I think that some serious analysis was done by the ULP. And by now, those involved should have seen what the issues were and what caused that drastic reduction in votes. And I think that's another seat sealed up again in 2025 for the ULP. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we go to West St. George, where we have a newcomer from the NDP, Kashaka Cupid, and he's going up against Mr. Curtis King. In the last elections, 7,559 registered voters in West St. George, 4,880 votes cast, 2,606 for the ULP, and 2,246 for the NDP, with 28 rejected ballots. I don't think that the choice by the NDP for that constituency in the last elections was a wise one. They have come this time with a little more of a sensible candidate in Kashaka Cupid. But he's a young first timer in politics, and his chance to represent the NDP in these elections was, in my words, a bit controversial because of who he defeated in the party's runoff to become the candidate. Kashaka is a former sportsman, but in this constituency, I'm giving it to Mr. King again. In this constituency, I think the ULP has a strong support in this constituency. A lot of things are going on there. Had several conversations with Mr. Cupid, and he seems to be confident, as every candidate going into election appears to be. But remember, I'm addressing the fact that somebody wrote on social media, how does it feel like you're going into election thinking that you would win? So if we come down, we are in West St. George, so that's 7. Now we move into constituencies. The next 4 constituencies are just as strong for the NDP as some are strong that I mentioned before are strong for the ULP. So if we move into East Kingston has had last election 7,171 voters. There were 4,879 votes cast, with the ULP taking 2,309 of those votes and the NDP taking 2,246 of these votes. And that put Fitzbramble into the House of Parliament over, no, I think I read the wrong thing. East Kingston, 7,171 registered voters. Votes cast, 4,879. ULP, 2,309. NDP, 2,556, 14 rejected. And as I said, that put Mr. Fitzbramble into the House of Parliament above Luke. Now, this constituency is basically a stronghold for the NDP. The constituency was basically passed over to Mr. Bramble. And persons would say, if somebody like the ULP's Julian Francis could not win there, there's nobody that could win there. A lot of names were thrown up to replace Luke in this constituency, Mr. Brown in this constituency, but he seems adamant on contesting again. And while over the years he has been increasing his votes, I actually don't see him defeating Mr. Bramble during the next general elections. I don't see that. Central Kingston had, during the last elections, 7,309 registered voters, 4,625 votes were cast. ULP had 1,965, and the NDP 2,642. This time around, Major St. Clair Leacock will be going up against newcomer Marvin Fraser. Both men have a sporting background, but Mr. Leacock is one of the stronger candidates of the NDP, and I think that he will be successful once again in this constituency. I think that Mr. Fraser would be able to pull back a few votes from Mr. Leacock, but I don't think that the momentum of the ULP in Central Kingston is as strong as some would like to believe, and it can result in a defeat of the NDP in that constituency. I just don't see that happening. West Kingston, 6,840 registered voters during the last election, 4,288 votes cast, 1,778 for the ULP, 2,492 for the NDP. And we saw the NDP taking that seat. This seat is being contested this time around once again by Mr. Cummins and, for the ULP, Kisal Peters, if I'm not mistaken. This is a very interesting seat, right? This is a very interesting seat. I think it was last held by the ULP with Ms. Rene Batiste. I don't see this seat moving away from the NDP this time around either. So we can move to South Leeward. South Leeward had 8,141 registered voters. 5,452 votes were cast. 2,453 for the ULP. 2,000. Let me just pause there, and we have a caller. Good night, caller. How are you?
Good night.
Good night.
And your last week program sound like a ULP program with it's hugging, Mr. Weeks and Stephen Razor.
Yeah.
I hope in this week a lot of NDP people would call in. And there's a lot of NDP people that don't call Kingsley. I'm hoping they would call tonight.
Why they don't call Kingsley?
It look like maybe Kingsley just criticize the NDP. Maybe that's criticize them too on this program. So probably that's why they probably don't call it. He usually criticize them.
Okay.
So I would love to hear people like Bigger Biggs, Doug Howard, Charles, Max Walker, Benson King, Dave Roberts, etc. to call them, So I don't take all the heat tonight.
Well,
people were saying how NDP gonna get the money to do all that stuff that they promised.
Yeah.
I say by more efficiently managing the state finances more efficiently. Look, Vincent Beach is appointed to a position, I say, it's a phantom position as national security advisor. Any former police commissioner could have been appointed to that position if he was serious about that position. So they say getting $100,000 plus he's on gun license board, petrol carry board, AIA board, an 80-year-old man. Okay. Then you have Julian Francis. Got a stroke. He had to retire from politics. Senators don't get pensions. So all that was needed was for them to go to Parliament and pass a bill for them to get a pension, which has been done for politicians from both sides. Instead, he appointed to some phantom position, I strongly believe, some advisor to government. Then you have Bones Bonady, advisor on labor relations. After ULP came to power, Bones Bonady said he could do what Ralph do in terms of blocking the road. And then shortly after that, he appointed as labor advisor. Then you have press secretary, press officer, communication, whatever consultant, and you have the job that Ferdinand holds, what's that, research officer. That's 4 positions. You could have done it only 2. That's a press secretary and research officer, instead of having 4 persons there. Then you give 500 students, you give $500 to students over the years. All that money could have been saved and fix the road instead. So you give students $500 and then their parents go in a pothole and have to spend $800, $1,000, $1,200 to fix their car. Then they had the building, the custom building. Took almost 7 years to build. Cost overrun, and now you're building a new port. And I'll give the last one I would give. I know you don't have limited time. The port, $700 million port. You could repair and extend the existing port for less than $250 million. That extra money you could have used to fix the road, repair the police stations, put medicine in the hospital, repair the schools and the clinic. Okay, I think I'll leave with that and have a good night.
Okay, thanks for your call. Is another caller? Let me address the okay, we have another caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Good night, my brother. I'm telling you, this kind of call, brother, it is really hot. It is really heart and soul. This is what they call political, tribal, political suicide. When they hear them guys and them, this guy is like, like when a man politically bright and have a cuss on him. That's how this guy is sung, eh? Because you going down the road so good, naming out these things and them, and this guy just cut in just so I say, well, we go when we're done, we go call and thing and have a good decent conversation. So here with this man go on and talking about oath and all kind of thing that jumping in and breaking down. And he said congratulate the government. We began to build a new port, to bring in more tourist boat, to bring in more cargo and all kind of thing. And see that that's upright, flipping thing for Sylvan too. This man sung like a political bright head. He a proper NDP. Brother, look now, man. I hear you was talking about the constituencies and he winning and thing, eh? But I tell something, I believe is the candidate that really that matter most of the time, eh? Because you can't put a weak candidate against people, strong people like Likak and Cummins and them. These are seats that we have before, and not surprised if we could get them, but because Prime Minister they not give wait this man name boy good guy Canvas says. We didn't hear him about no portfolio like no ministry and thing. And personal people tell me from over the cack over there. I don't know why Prime Minister do that. He's the one with wisdom he's supposed to know. And I people from a Likak constituency say, well, that is the reason why they vote for Likak. Likak catch them because he campaign and that. So I believe, according to him and put, you could be successful in them seat that you win already. And with Kissel Peters, if Kissel Peters only move a little bit and touch plenty base, Cummins gone for sure. Well, he sit with nature. We know that he's a gone seat for sure. We know that he want anything besides the E9 that we have. So we're looking for 9, 10, or 12. But I'll tell you something with Sand Hill seat. Now, I tell you, a candidate matter. It have a time that this guy bring down Mr. Eustace from 400 to 30 something vote. And if he don't die and he go back there, I show him how to take that seat. So he candidate that, and all the candidates that come below after Julian Prentice and among them guys and them, well, I hear you say that if Julian Prentice can't take it, who could take it? Well, that is true in a sense, but at the same time, he get beaten bad. And somebody else go again and they get beaten. So that seat, that seat, your candidate really matter. And with the grenadines and all kind of thing, we got government giving strength. I believe we up for a serious. It ain't no hard thing for government to win election. Because Labour Party people get vexed when they hear for a guy there who know how to act. NDP getting on the Chevron and among they kind of like they telling Labour Party people they listen to them and they getting vexed, they ready to vote. And they coming out in the numbers numbers. Just call them out. Just call them and you see the Russian coming. The sweating, they're willing to keep you away from Sylvan too. So I believe is the candidate a matter. And then last night, I'm going after Chevron say, Jomo Thomas say, Jomo Thomas, you're ungrateful, stupid. You're not really, why you not going to join one of them? Join NDP. Why they not want you over there? You join up with Chevron's too. Not Chevron John, I will see him up in fancy. I'm telling you all that he only one election time coming on in government doing things. How you could bring yourself to be so low with the NDP to tell you all that you own the election ever since 2001 the government hit. The government hit, it going and never stop. From airport to WAF to housing to road, quantity to tongue, education, 100% mortgage, and you so bare-faced to Mutabas to general NDP person are telling lies. I totally disgrace to you all.
Hello, caller. You still there? I think we lost that caller.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes. I'm going now.
Okay. All right.
So I find some of that ungratefulness, that deceitfulness. You could tell me somebody and say that the prime minister only doing things when the election time come up. Well, when 5 times and talk about people only getting work and food and all kind of thing coming an election. So we were doing the rest of days, Chebon and Jomo Thomas. How they were surviving? All these thousands of work that people went overseas and get their education and come back. A thousands of people that resigned from the work. Who fit in the space? Who fit in the space, Jomo Thomas? To come say your education from Golo, how you could come and say them kind of thing and make savings. So I tell them, man, Jomo, you need to go and wash somewhere in the press and it's all. Because you really, if you had to talk about Prime Minister, bless so much. That reason I see winning the election all the time because he kind of chopping it all the same. Bringing blessing upon him. All right, man.
All right. Thanks for your call. We have another caller. Let me address couple of things that the caller that we know. Okay, let me just pause. There's another caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Hi, good evening. Who am I speaking with?
Life Compton. Filling in for Kingsley De Freitas, who's still under the weather.
Oh no, I don't. Well, I was saying right. I didn't know if I put on too late, but I didn't hear you finish down at Leeward side.
Oh, I reached.
I heard you was talking about some North Windward.
I didn't reach the
come to I think east.
Right, I didn't reach yet. I didn't reach the Leeward side.
Oh, I thought I missed something.
No, you did not. No.
Okay then, but here what, right? You know that everybody had choice of party who they will vote for, right?
Definitely.
And if I vote in NDP, I will support NDP. I will talk good about them.
Yes.
The other side, no person will vote Labour, and they will talk good about Labour. So everybody equal. Why are you gonna be fussing about somebody talking about the other side? Just maybe just, you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but there are some people who would support a party, but not talk bad about the candidate for the other party. Just that they have a preference.
Yeah. That's correct.
But there are some people, I guess both sides are guilty of it, that support blindly. Not that there's anything wrong with somebody's choice to support something blindly, but supporting something blindly does not mean that the party or the person that you do not support.
I think that supporting somebody blindly is when you're a lovely person, so you would not see the flaws.
Right, but it does not mean that the other person is bad.
That is correct. I don't have much credit. I don't have my phone now.
Okay.
Run out, right? So
yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Thanks for your call. So the caller who we refer to as Queens, he was making some points about elderly people being on certain contracts with the government and being paid sums of money or whatever. I have a problem with people who make that criticism, because in a way it seems to me like you're saying because somebody reaches a certain age, you should take away their ability to earn an income. That's how it comes across to me, because I am, say, 60, 65, 70, 75, and I have enough energy to do a job, or the expertise to do a job, or the knowledge of a job, that I should not be allowed to do that job because of my age. So basically, you take away my ability. I don't know if I'm using the right word, but you're taking away my chance to work because you consider me elderly and to make money. Now, some of these positions he spoke about would actually tell us why the people that have them are doing them. We're talking about something as important as national security, something as important as being on a firearm board. And we're talking about people who have the level-headedness, the experience, the expertise to still contribute to these very important aspects of Vincentian society. So I do not see why people still bring about the argument that, oh, let's get rid of these people because they're elderly and they already worked and give the post to someone younger. I don't support that argument. If someone reaches a certain age and decide that they're still able to work and they still want to work and there's a job for them, I think they should be allowed to do that job to the best of their ability, unless they show some signs of basically that they can't do the job anymore. So I don't support that argument. I never liked it. And that's my opinion, as I said. Now, he also spoke about students getting $500 towards basically for their academic performance. Now, why someone would have a problem with that, I'm not sure. This is one way that helps to boost students' performance in exams, knowing that they will be rewarded once they do well. And there are instances when students need to have some sort of incentive to perform. There are students who do not have parental support, community support. There are students that basically struggle to be in school, basically go to school because it's the process we all go through. We go to school. And if it's a situation where students are boosted to perform in school because they have an incentive, I realistically can't see the problem with this and why somebody would even try to begrudge a student $500 under the explanation that the money could be used to fix the road, and then they give the student $500 and then the parent drop down in a pothole and cause $800 in damage to the car, and the money could be used to fix the roads. We were speaking specifically about roads last week, and as I said, I don't think roads is an election issue. I don't think people will be voting against the ULP because they're not fixing roads, because as we see the amount of road projects that are going on across the country, there's a lot of road projects addressing a lot of the issues that people were complaining about going on across the country. Now, the caller also spoke about repairing the old port. I had a conversation with Mr. Carl James, who is one of the, we were having a personal conversation about that specific thing. Why not fix the old port? And I wish he were called tonight, because he gave a very thorough explanation of why they could not fix the old port and why it was important to construct the new port facility. And interesting, it seems like I'm not saying this about the caller that spoke about the port project and why it couldn't be, the old port couldn't have been fixed and save the money to do other stuff. I'm not speaking specifically about him. There are a lot of people that oppose just for opposition's sake. So it was said that the new port will definitely benefit the government and benefit the economy and benefit business people. And it will benefit business people in such a way that a lot of their costs would be reduced. And Mr. James was on radio this morning. He was explaining how the cost to business people would be reduced and how they would be able to recognize greater profits. And somebody said basically, oh, that's just in theory. But it's not just in theory. It's something that is something that has a study to it, and it's something that has been recognized in other countries, that proper functioning port facilities boost our economy, and it also boosts local business people. Now, I could think of a simple way that the port, being where it is, built where it is, would benefit a business person or even benefit a local citizen. Let's look at it this way. To move trucking. Let's deal with trucking. Transporting items from the Camden Park port. The transportation costs for business people and regular users of the port, people who go to clear barrels, boxes, that will keep some money in their pockets. And we might say, okay, it keeping money in their pockets and taking money out of the truckers' pockets, but that's not true because of the construction of the new port and the capabilities of the new port, truckers and other people who operate in relation to the port will have more jobs because there will be more business being done through the port. So it's like a win-win for everyone. But Mr. James had explained why certain infrastructural issues, why the old port was not repaired, and there was actually a study done on it why it would not have been beneficial to repair that port. Now there are plans for that area, and he also spoke about so many plans I can't recall them out of my head right now. But that's just I was basically just commenting on some of the things that the caller said. Now, if I may, I would move back to the constituencies and the ones that I think that will remain with the NDP and the ones that will remain with the ULP. I think I was in West Kingston. So basically, I'm saying that, well, a caller before said that he thinks that anybody can win any constituency. And West Kingston was once held by the ULP. But I honestly think that the Kingston seats are strongholds of the NDP, not because the candidates for the ULP are bad candidates, but that's just the way it's historically been going since 2001. Now, South Leeward, last election, 8,141 registered voters, 5,452 ballots cast, 2,453 votes for the ULP, 2,958 for the NDP, one by the NDP. This constituency, a lot of people seem to think that the ULP candidate, Mr. Grenville Williams, who has been trying to contest this constituency for some time now and has been given a nod this time by the constituency council to contest against Nigel Nature Stevenson. A lot of persons are liking the chance that Mr. Williams has. A lot of people have been labeling Mr. Stevenson as lazy, only speaks about roads in Parliament. And a lot of people liking the chance of Mr. Williams. To be honest, I don't see Mr. Williams taking this seat. I just don't see that. I complaining that a candidate is lazy and doesn't like to work and only talks about roads in Parliament doesn't really convert to votes on the ground. But as I said, I don't see this seat changing sides. But as some say, an election is won on election day and everybody goes in with 0, although I don't really support that. But we will see how this one goes. This is people seem to think that we should be watching the South Leeward seat and we should be watching the South Leeward seat change hands, and we would be watching the North Leeward seat change hands, the North Windward seat change hands over to the NDP. I don't support none of these arguments. So if we move to Central Leeward, 6,745 votes registered during the last elections, 4,924 ballots cast, 2,703 to the ULP, 2,200 to the NDP. I think the seat would also remain with the ULP. I think this is a stronghold. I think that Mr. Brewster has a lot of support of the youngsters in the community. Like, I think if there was an analysis done of the age of voters who voted for Mr. Brewster in the 2020 elections, that you would see that a lot of youngsters vote for him. Him having come from the area and known and liked by many of the youngsters and adults and elderly in the area also. So I think the seat would definitely remain with the ULP. Now, moving to North Leeward. North Leeward is one of the seats that a lot of people are keeping their eyes on. There were 6,182 registered voters, 4,580 people voted, 2,271 voted for the ULP, 2,270 voted for the NDP. There were 39 rejected ballots. And this seat is being contested this time around by Carlos James, who is the Member of Parliament for North Leeward, and newcomer Dr. Kishore Shallow. Mr. James has been doing receiving a lot of accolades for his work in tourism. And you're seeing numbers, St. Vincent breaking a lot of records and increasing a lot of numbers in relation to tourism. Now, Dr. Shallow came onto the scene and hit the ground running. He was making waves. He was campaigning hard. But to be honest, I don't know. I haven't heard much of him lately. No, Mr. Shallowell. But one of the things that he said, one of the comments that he made during his early set of campaigning, where he was referring to senior politicians, senior statesman as an old fool, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I know it's election and people get heated and they say things, but that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think that also rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. To be honest, I didn't like that. That's just my personal opinion. He could have said what he was saying differently, but to refer to someone as a senior statesman, established, well-recognized politician with years of service, sweat equity in the country, to refer to that person as an old fool, I think several persons were offended by that statement. And some of his colleagues jumped onto the bandwagon and were talking about it and have it and was like running with it too. But I didn't like that. I don't support that type of politics. I can remember in one of the elections, the Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, had told politicians on his side that they were not to engage in the sort of gutter politics, but stick to the facts, stick to your plans and what you'll be doing, and forget about the gutter politics. The gutter politics isn't intelligent politics, because I don't want to hear about somebody being an old fool. I want to hear about what you're going to do to boost the economy, as you say, and make lives easier for Vincentians as you're claiming that you would do if you were to get into power. Now, look at this. Mr. James, on one hand, the ministry he heads is doing extremely well. And these are not numbers, the stats and the numbers, these are not our stats and our numbers. We didn't make them up. Some of these stats and some of these numbers, most of them come from international agencies where we cannot manipulate the figures. The figures are just the figures, the facts are the facts. So Mr. James has been managing the tourism industry, and we have seen a lot of numbers coming out. From the Argyle International Airport to taxi drivers at the Argyle International Airport speaking about how well they're doing. A lot of vehicle imports in relation to the tourism sector, hotels, Sanders coming in, setting up, hiring so many people. Then we have them recently signing another deal for another Sanders resort. We had Holiday Inn come in. We have hotels like Beachcombers and others expanding. And the tourism industry has really been taken off the last couple of years and coming up on a recovery from last couple of months, I should say, coming up from a recovery from Hurricane Beryl. And we are doing really well. Now, on the other hand, we see Mr. Shallow, president of West Indies Cricket, and we see West Indies Cricket going through a phase where they're telling you basically we're having financial issues now. And next year we're going to have to cut out a lot of the competitions that we have because of financial issues. So it seems like the old fool comment and some of the things that Mr. Shallow was saying has come back to really like bite him now, because he's going up against a candidate who is showing that he has been leading an industry very well, tourism industry very well, and then the entity that is under your care is experiencing financial issues. And people would ask, does it reflect on your leadership? But despite this, that constituency in North Leeward is separated by one vote. But despite the comparison between the two candidates, somehow I'm thinking that this constituency will go to the NDP in the next general elections. That's just my opinion. As I said, I'm just having a feeling that that one will go to the NDP. It's leaning that way, and it has been leaning that way for a while. Go to the Northern Grenadines. Well, Northern Grenadines to me is another stronghold of the NDP. So in the last general elections, there were 4,201 registered voters in the Northern Grenadines. 2,599 persons cast their ballot. 459 for the ULP. 2,126 for the NDP. There's nothing to make us think that this would go any different this time around. That's a NDP stronghold, has always been an NDP stronghold, and I think that is definitely another seat for the NDP. Southern Grenadines, last election, 2,957 registered voters, 1,728 people voted, 564 for the ULP and 1,151 for the NDP. Now, people are keeping their eyes closely on this constituency, and a lot of people are looking for upset in this constituency with newcomer Chevron Stewart, who is going up against Member of Parliament for the Southern Grenadines, Terence Olivier. People seem to think that Ms. Stewart would definitely take this constituency because of the tremendous work that the ULP is doing in the Southern Grenadines. And anybody who is doubting that the government is doing tremendous work in the Southern Grenadines is just plain politics, and lazy politics too. That's lazy politics. A category 4-5 storm, Beryl, struck the Southern Grenadines, struck several countries last year, July 1st, 2024. And the destruction brought to the Southern Grenadines was devastating, especially on Union Island. Union Island was reduced to rubble. Canawan, lot of damage. Myro, a lot of damage. They claim that, well, we could see, not a claim, about 95% of the buildings on Union Island was destroyed. And after Beryl, I went to Union Island after Beryl, and it was a sight to behold. It was something out of a movie. I had never seen so much destruction in my life. Journey to the Southern Grenadines today from Canawan. Canawan has been totally transformed because of a collaboration between British financier and businessman Ian Wace and his Gumble Limber Group and the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Canawan, from you sail into Canawan, you can see the transformation in the harbor. There's a new ferry terminal built there. There are shops built there, container design shops, modern designs. It's Canawan has been really transformed. Move on to Myro, ferry terminal in Myro. Myro was affected heavily by Beryl, but there's a lot of construction that went on there, a lot of houses fixed. But the talking point is Union Island. Now, a little over a year after Hurricane Beryl struck Union Island, roofs are back on, houses were built, houses are being built, rebuilt and built. Foundations are currently being laid for prefab houses in that constituency. And the government has basically been taking care of people from the Southern Grenadines in many ways, from bringing them to the mainland, putting them up in houses, paying all the bills. Some of the workers, some of the people who came from Union Island were able to get jobs on the mainland. There are food, there are still kitchens, community kitchens being run on Union Island where people are still being fed. There's a lot of activity. And recently, last Saturday, the Gumble Limber Group handed over to the government a brand new ferry terminal and marketplace in Clifton, and that was officially open last Saturday. The reconstruction effort in the Southern Grenadines is something to speak about and should be a model for other countries that are struck by national disasters. It should be a model. I said it should be a model because if you compare the destruction in the Southern Grenadines to what Hurricane Katrina did in the United States, and up to this day, the United States have not seen it fit to help some of the persons displaced by Katrina, and that was so many years ago. And to see a small country like St. Vincent and the Grenadines committing itself to rebuilding and actually rebuilding not just committing to rebuilding, but actually doing it, is something that could be a model for other countries. I've seen what Union was, and I've seen what it is today, and it's basically amazing. And the Prime Minister said something on Saturday in relation to rebuilding efforts and helping people. He says that he's extremely generous. And when I heard the Prime Minister say that, I think somebody in the audience shouted, "Oh, well, it's not your money." And he said, "Yes, it's not my money, but I put it in the budget. I made it happen," which is true. When he said that, "I will rebuild every single house destroyed," I was like, in my mind, I was saying that that is not something that should have been said because of the magnitude of the destruction. But the Prime Minister said it, and he's actually living up to his word of doing it. And to me, that is commendable, because there's no other country, no matter how rich, I've ever heard of as saying, "Well, we're going to build back every single home. We're going to help everybody we can." Didn't discriminate and say, "Well, Mr. Tom is rich, so we're not gonna touch his home." That's not what was said. Once you were affected by the disaster, the government vowed to build back your home, and it is being done. Some people have taken the initiative to try to do. Let me pause there. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Yeah, I just wanna touch on this topic. You talk about the housing,
Right.
because in that they hardly building back some housing.
Yeah, I saw
And
that too.
workers on top of the housing on them. When I told them, and me and have a conversation. So I say, "See how the government good? Building back house for people here. Not government money. It's burial money." I say, "You give me a proof that people send money from overseas to build back houses." I say, the damage is $1 billion. And most I might say $1 million. I donate $1 million.
Yeah.
15 million. And most of them go to the Red Cross. If a man would donate 15 million and he spend it himself. So tell me something. I say, let me tell you something, building back them houses. The government have a dollar. And the people part of the same good enough. The government have a dollar and % of the VAT. That money going to a fund. And when a year comes, it comes up to a certain million. That's the money that using. You have tourists that come here. You charge them $3 a room. And that's the money. That go up to a couple of million. That's the money government using. Anyway, there is the money. Government use the head. Any money at all that come again from anybody, any sources, is a soft loan, a long-term loan. So I want to tell you, and if you have to listen, when the painting the government and say, "Oh, it buried money," people sending Sylvan some money, brother, the government had to go and borrow, and the little fund that you have. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. We're listening. We're here.
Yeah, a little fund that opposition say you're gonna take off. That is a little dollar from that. The government give that money from. So don't get no idea. I think that Vincent and who country going to give the tax or hard money to Sylvan Soup to build back house and all kind of thing. So all of us understand that. And nobody, a soup kitchen might come from such and such, yes. But if finance that going to these things, the government had to find money to do that. Pay bill, rent, pay this, pay that. You think St. Louis and them be going to get money? America going to get money for them fund. So they have a little program, America might spend $10,000 to part up with these 6 or 7 countries. No, this debt is $1 billion. I hope I understand. It's $1 billion. to build back houses and road and all kind of things. So I don't know if the government is going to borrow. I'm a consistency fund that they collect from tourists. That's how the government will get money to move. So when I say, oh, the government have a project, and it's supposed to put 10,000 yeah, no money. The government have $1 million for maybe $1 VAT, and it disaster fund. So don't get no idea that America, nobody sending no money down here to help nobody.
Well,
Any money, if lend the government, if borrow by 1%, the government has to do. The government using the head to get you back comfortable. Are you costing and say, well, that's same money now for me tourism, for me a room levy, and all the help cost the government with the cash, they give them $5 instead. It's a second cheap from them. Give them $5 to encourage them to come. With nice money that's spending right now to build back all the houses and things. So not get your idea when they depend on house, oh, somebody give government money. But I don't want to send telling Chevron and all of them.
yeah.
Fooling people.
Well, before I comment on what you said, another call. Before I comment on what you said, I was basically saying that if we were to go by the government's contribution to the Southern Grenadines, then we would all say that the ULP would definitely win the Southern Grenadines. But historically speaking, I don't think that the Southern Grenadines will come home to the ULP this time around, as it hasn't for the last several elections since around probably like 1970 something. It has always been a seat where the opposition has held. Interesting. I went to Union on last week, Monday, and I was basically speaking to people who had their homes rebuilt and some of whose homes are currently in the rebuilding stage. And I was in the ferry terminal, and these Romanians are extraordinary workmen. I keep saying this, right? The Romanians were basically putting the finishing touches on the ferry terminal, and although it was not finished, a lot of people were already using the facility. It's designed with a very high roof, and the breeze that blows through there is very calming. It's a really great facility, and a lot of people were there. And a guy says to me that he is a supporter of the NDP, and what he sees going on in Union is very commendable. He says that he cannot hide from the fact that what is going on in Union is commendable, and the government is doing a good job, although there are a lot of people who are complaining about not having their homes rebuilt as yet. But that is another topic. Well, basically, some people who haven't had their homes rebuilt are even touches is a lot of legal issues with some of these homes in relation to them not being owned by the persons that occupied them. So then the Housing Land Development Corporation or whatever entity that wants to help can't really do anything from a legal standpoint. Let me break there. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback. Oh, the caller's gone. So yeah, it's some legal issues. Basically, one of the things too is that they have 20 something homes, prefab homes earmarked for the Southern Grenadines, and they are ready to go. The reason why there aren't more is because of land issues. Some of the lands are not fitted for the prefab homes. A lot of the lands are not owned by the people who once occupied them. And in some instances, landlords use the opportunity to get people out of the homes, and some of them are not really showing interest in rebuilding. Some of the people who own the property are overseas. It's several issues. But come back to the point that the guy said to me, and I want to call his name, but he said that basically that he's an NDP supporter, but he cannot say that things are not moving in the Southern Grenadines, especially on Union. But he does not think that it would transform into votes. He used some words. I'm not sure if he was, I wouldn't want to repeat some of the words he used, but I don't know if he was saying to me that he was going to change his vote to ULP, but he was saying it doesn't matter what you give to the people of the Southern Grenadines. His words were, you can give them gold, they still were not going to vote for the ULP because of whatever reasons. And it was interesting. Prime Minister Gonsalves on Saturday, he basically said that the NDP was campaigning in the Southern Grenadines still on the back of Mr. James Mitchell. And he was saying, well, Mr. Mitchell did a lot for the people in the Grenadines, but people are still using that to campaign on. And they were basically using the ghost of Mr. Mitchell to campaign. And it came back to what the person told me on Monday last week, that seems that no matter what the government does for the Southern Grenadines, that the people don't seem to want to vote for the ULP. There was some, for want of a better word, some dumb things being said about the Southern Grenadines constituency, where people were putting forward the argument that the government was, well, the ULP was in some way trying to force people onto the mainland and not rebuilding the homes so that people could return to vote. So they were basically forcing the people out of the Southern Grenadines so they could vote in other constituencies. And although that rumor was laid to rest because it was announced that people from the Southern Grenadines are allowed to continue voting in the Southern Grenadines, or if they wish to move their vote, they can. There was also some arguments being put across that only ULP supporters are getting help in the Southern Grenadines. And as a result, the votes are going to stay the same. But the argument that only ULP people are getting help in the Southern Grenadines was a real nonsensical argument, because let's look at the numbers again. 2,957 registered voters in the Southern Grenadines. 1,728 people voted. Now, only 564 people voted for the ULP in the Southern Grenadines. 1,151 people voted for the NDP. So if we're arguing that only ULP supporters are getting help, the numbers show up to over 3,000 people in the Southern Grenadines being assisted by the government. So how is it that you pick out who is voting for the ULP to support? So that means if that was being done, a number is only, say, 564 people would get help. Let me just pause there. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
First I'm calling to you, Mr. Crompton.
All
Listening to you, and you're saying that some of the people in the Grenadines are saying that the government have done a good job, but yet they're not going to vote for the government. And that is a tradition done in the Grenadines.
Yes.
Now compare that to the government. Now it's been 25 years, and people are saying that the government's been there too long. The government is doing too long. And in my estimation, they have done an excellent job thus far. And you want to change them for what? The Grenadines, like you said, they're doing a lot of work in the Grenadines, but it's still traditional. They're not going to vote for him. The government is doing the same kind of job, even better job now, and you want the government to change? Listen, I was just in St. Vincent recently, and I traversed right out to Stall Pond. I went into Darkly Fall, and I've seen tremendous road work doing in those areas, especially out on the windward side. And I was amazed at those, I see the fence that I saw the way they compacted those roads. I even went up to Green Hill for the first time, and I saw a bridge being done there. So there's a lot of work, road work that's been done in St. Vincent. I mean, there's more to be done. I've traversed a lot of roads that really need doing themselves. But like the PM said, it takes a lot of money. And I mean, the disaster that hit St. Vincent and Grenadines, if that prime minister wasn't there, I would like to know who would have got the kind of help that this prime minister have gotten. Because I don't think the opposition would have got the kind of help. But this man is not known all over the world. And because of the status that he was in United Nations Security Council, that gave him a lot of help around the world. I don't think any other prime minister could have done what he's doing and get the help. So when people talk, oh, it's buried money, they got money for this and that. If it wasn't for the kind of person he is, we would not have gotten that help.
May I ask where
Listen,
may I ask where you're calling from?
Mm.
Which country, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm confused from the United States.
Okay. Do you
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
go on, ask the question. I've worked in a building trade for 33 years.
Mhm.
And I've seen building go and building come. Brand new buildings that been up there for maybe 4, 5, 6 years. They take them down. I worked at JFK. I work at the transformation of LaGuardia Airport for years. I look at LaGuardia today. I work in the during the Olympics in Atlanta. So I'm very versed in construction work. So work has to be done. They talk about the port. The port has been there for so long. It's gonna take just as much money to expand that port or do work on the port. It's better off building a new port, which is going to be advantageous to St. Vincent and Grenadines. So, people talk a lot of rubbish about they should spend the money in expanding, repairing the fort. No. This is modern times. And this is what the outer world are doing. You got to keep up to date is what is going on. And going back to seats, I think nature can be beaten in South Leeward. Can be beaten. If you look back, Jerry Scott was a giant there, and he done an excellent job in South Leeward. But he was taken down by Dr. Slater.
Yes.
And nature can be done. And if you look at the last two candidates that ran there, in my estimation, they did not get a lot of support from the machinery that's running South Leeward, like the Ann Jones, etc. And they are all out there now. And I think he has a very, very good chance of taking nature down. Because in my estimation, he's been there. And he haven't done nothing for the constituency, as far as I know. Like you said, he come to Parliament, back walls, roads. You have a disaster, you ask him to go to help. Oh, I can't do anything because I'm not in government. That is rubbish. If you're in government or out of government, your opposition, you got to find ways and means to get resources to help your people, show the people what you can do. I mean, NDP talk about, only if we get there, we could do certain things. I mean, Mr. Yusuf talk about 20,000 jobs. Only if we get there. Is that love of people? That's, in my estimation, not love of people. If you show them what you could do in opposition, then the people will give you a chance. They promised the people $100,000 in a hurricane. Did they turn up with the money? No. Did they give an explanation why? No. So how are people going to trust them to say, well, you're going to do this and do that, and you're not explaining to people why they did not get the money, and they have boats right almost every other month going elsewhere.
Yeah.
If you have a question to me, you can ask me anything.
You said that you work in the building
Trade.
Yeah, in the USA. How would you compare the building initiatives in relation to housing for the less fortunate in the USA to that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
We don't have that here. Basically, we don't have that here. You don't hear government building place for people here. I mean, the PM always refer to Hurricane Katrina. And I was working up in Westchester when that thing happened. And people are still living in shelters today.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have America sharing money all over the world, but where are the people? So the PM is commendable for doing these things. Really. I mean, people still living in slums up here.
What anybody assisted with in relation to the fires, the LA fires?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anybody will LA files because a lot of those houses out there are rich people homes. But I'm sure they get help somewhere. But it's not too much. I don't think too much help coming from the government itself, really, in relation to helping those people to rebuild their places.
Yeah.
So we are very fortunate in St. Vincent that we have a government who care, especially way back when he was bringing plumbing inside for the elderly people.
Yeah.
I know the NDP, the elderly in St. Vincent, the way they have outside toilets and plumbing. The PM said he wants to make their last life comfortable.
Yeah, I grew up with that. I'm not ashamed to say I grew up with that, with the outside
Me
toilet.
too, and myself too.
Yeah.
Myself too.
Yeah.
I'm from Camden Park in Carib. You know, just a touch there.
What is funny is that the prime minister said that when he came into power, there was a project to dig pit toilets for people.
Toilets, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
and there was one in the Grenadines in one of the schools in the Grenadines.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about you have a pit toilet in a school, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was
It is crazy. So yeah, but I think, and you know what, even on this radio station wasn't Kingsley, the morning program. You know, like when Dr. Shallow came in, the candidate, I said, I wish for educated men that you will stay above the rift and don't go down in the gutter.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was totally embarrassed to know that this man of this caliber will go down in the gutter.
Yeah.
So
he didn't have to.
It was sad.
Yeah,
he didn't have to go there.
Yeah,
he didn't have to follow and go there. But it seemed like everybody come the same way, and they go on the NDP. They go down in the gutter. I remember Dr. Linton Lewis too. He was very very good man. Talk real good about the government and the government advocate basically for him to be a member of NDP. As soon as he get there, he did the same thing. Basically, why when you educate like that you have to follow what is going on? Same as that's why they have to go down the gutter to get somewhere, but it's not working. They got to fight the man at the pole, tell you what you can do, and do what you have to do. Don't make promises and don't follow up with the promises, because Sir James, I had the money in his back pocket to build the airport. He died. Nobody went in his coffin and take that money out. They couldn't touch that coffin for the money. A man come and do this airport, and I must say, I was very much involved in raising funds for that money for the airport in New York. I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
And when I came down there a couple of weeks ago, I was in the back taking pictures of people who contributed. And I would have done that, by the way. I would have done that if NDP was in power and building an airport, because I'm Vincentian and my country come first, in not politics. So when I see progress, I would say I will back progress. All right. So it doesn't matter who is in power. I will do what I have to do. But I'm still doing my share today. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your call. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, so as I was saying in relation to the Southern Grenadines, the government has the obligation to help as many people as it can, because it's not a situation where, because you vote for particular party, that you're not supposed to reach, that you're not supposed to get government assistance in whatever you need it in. And you usually hear about discrimination and victimization and a lot of different things. But let me just break. We have a caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Yeah, you were saying Shallow go down in the gutter.
Yes, I think he did go down in the gutter.
You never heard the Prime Minister over the years. He put his middle finger to the crowd that was booing outside Parliament. He called Matthew Thomas and Junior Bacchus the dirty dog. He called Basti Alexander NDP dog. He said he called Dr. Friday in Parliament. Dr. Friday, you're stupid. He insulted Kingsley, said, don't vote for me, you're going to blight me. And he insulted the Speaker of the House, telling him, you got me in your craw. So, you know, he gets what he gave.
Yes, I
You
acknowledge.
didn't hear none of those, right?
No.
I bet you didn't hear none of those.
No, why would I say I didn't hear any of those? What I'm
No,
saying?
that's what people, but the politicians,
Yes,
and
yes.
activists usually do that.
We could leave out the back and forth in Parliament. A lot of stuff is said in Parliament by both sides. But what I'm saying is that okay, we heard certain remarks being made, but two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, listen to it this
Yeah,
way,
but
right?
did you talk about those when the PM did them?
At the
Did
time,
you come out and say anything about them?
at the time, I wasn't vocal. Had a platform
Right.
to address these things.
And you was in the
But-
media.
Right. But let me put this scenario to you, right? Let me put this scenario to you. I guess I'm in my 40s, late 40s. I might not look it, but I have no idea how old
Yeah,
you
you
are.
look young.
Right. You mind sharing your age with us? If you don't
I'm
mind.
in the 50s.
Right.
I won't tell if it's all your late.
Right. Okay. No problem. I think we were all brought up a certain way. And while we might say it's politics, one of the ways that I would assume we were all brought up is that respect our elders. So it was weird to me to hear it, right? I'm not saying that other members on the ULP have not said things and other members of the NDP have not said things, but I don't think that you would refer to someone who's elder to you, no matter how angry they get you, as an old fool. It would not sit well with whoever relative you might have that is older than you. They would say, well, basically, when you are addressed a certain way by an elder, you should maintain a level of respect. So I don't know if politics chose that level of respect out of the door and anything goes. I don't know. I'm not a politician. So what are your thoughts on that?
So for you, it's older. When if you're older, you could insult people, but
Yeah. Base.
it's okay in that
No.
for young people too.
Listen,
Somebody older.
I have learned, right, from being around people, elderly people, that I'm not specifically putting this on anyone or saying this is what happens in relation to politics. But what I'm saying is that sometimes when people reach a certain age, they think that they have the right to say exactly, not probably like how they feel, but anything they feel like because of the age.
I think Mitchell said that. He said, I don't care what I say now, I'm old, I don't care what I say.
Exactly.
Mitchell did say that.
That's my point. But how many persons do you think Mr. Shallow offended, even on his own side, with that comment, compared to how many the PM may have offended by saying something of that nature to somebody who and him is the same age?
I can't say.
Well,
It's just the individual that
I was
I
actually
don't think he offended any of them, just the individual, one individual.
the thing is, right? Mr. Shallow came on the scene and he was doing extremely well. I enjoyed listening to him. I liked what he was saying, but then he just went into the same old dirty politics and that.
Got the politics.
I didn't really like that, to be honest. No, for real, I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. That's just my opinion, right? I'm not saying that he's a bad person. I'm not saying that he would not be a good member of parliament, because in my analysis, I said, if you remember, that I think that he could probably edge Mr. James in that seat. But one of the things that started going against him is when he started to go into the gutter. And now, realistically speaking, I don't really hear from him anymore. I don't know if the fire has gone out. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I don't hear from him anymore. And
You're not listening to NDP meetings.
I listen to them
He's
sometimes.
on there.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to have the same fire that he has when he was starting out. That's in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Thanks for your call. Yeah, so we have another caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Hi, good night, good night. A great program, I must say. Good interaction.
Thanks.
What I would like to say is respect goes across the board, both ways. I am a supporter of the ULP party. And I never find myself, of all the commentary that I made on Facebook or all the posts that I will write on Facebook, I never find myself disrespecting any politician at all. Because for me, I see them still as people who are in authority. It doesn't matter what side on. The opposition is the queen's well, it will be the king now, the king's opposition. They are highly also recognized. So when I see people in authority, it doesn't matter how much I disagree with them or I don't like their policies. I cannot find myself disrespecting the opposition leader, not even a member of parliament, to call him fool or stupid or out the name or anything like that. And I think that we have broken down a lot in society where this politics has really made moral gone out of the door, moral gone out of the window. We can disagree. We can say, okay, we don't like this policy. Okay, we don't like what they say. We don't like this. We don't like that. But the disrespect that I see across the board, it's appalling. And I mean, we got to come to the point where somebody got to stand up and say, you know what? No, this cannot work. I'm in my 40s. And if I see my children going down that road, I would tell them, I said, no, this cannot work. But I see big older folks than us who I think would say, okay, you know what, guys? You said this, you did that. I'll come out and rebuke them. Instead, they join in the bandwagon and going down the disrespectful road. So then they will say, okay, moral in society has broken down. But look back and see where it is, where it started from. You never put a stop to it. We're not putting a stop to it. We're joining young people and we're disrespecting politicians when we're supposed to say, no. We could disagree with what the person say. We might not like what the person say. But now, let us not disrespect each other in that way. We still have to hold them at a, because they represent the office. They represent the highest office in the land. So, I would really like to see a change in these areas.
Definitely.
That's my contribution for tonight.
All right. Thank you for your call. We have another caller. So, let's welcome to Feedback. Good night, caller.
Hello, good night.
Good night. Welcome to Feedback.
Yeah, you're talking there about the seat, Adam,
Yes.
and very good. But I believe with all my heart that Mr. James, Carla James, is gonna beat that man. Beat him handsomely. Because, brother, Mr. James have been working real hard. Extra hard. Not just in tourism, but he have been working hard in the constituency. Where no other politician have been doing in that constituency. Mr. James have been doing it. And I believe that Mr. James is going to win that seat again. one more time, you're going to win that seat again. If he don't know by one vote again, he's going to win that seat again for the ULP. And you're talking about Daniel Cummins in West Kingston.
Yes.
People have been getting fed up of Daniel Cummins. Daniel Cummins in West Kingston. People have been getting fed up of him. It just hit me in Central Kingston. Over the last 15 years of Mr. Licker have been the representative for Central Kingston. Mr. Licker has done nothing for the people in Central Kingston. And when you ask him, oh, I am not in government. I am not in government. That's nonsense. Even though that you're not in government, you could do something to help us for your constitution. And the thing about it that people don't like what Mr. Licker. If Mr. Licker give you help you with a little $100, the whole world have to know that Mr. Licker help you. Look at it. Look at it. I will show you something that Mr. Licker needs to realize. Dr. Gunther and the European have built a house for me, John McGill in Greenville. And never, I have never heard Gunther company and say, oh, I build house for John McGill and this and that. No! Even though you have done something for somebody, the whole world has done that. Come on!
Yeah.
So, I am looking at show the ULP is going to win back this election. The ULP is going to win back. They're going to win back more than the 90 when they win the last time. And you know that the ULP have done a lot for the people of this country. And I'm talking about the opposition leader. The opposition in St. Vincent right now is lazy. The lazy is the most laziest opposition that I ever come across. Look, Torrington, in the last hurricane last year, do you know what Mr. Fraser do? Mr. Fraser go where? Mr. Fraser did not hear when the hurricane was coming. Mr. Fraser bicycle and go to Canada. And when the hurricane done, Fraser come back. Huh? That's the kind of man I want to be Prime Minister. Huh? So in case now, by some kind of accident, that should become the Prime Minister. So just in case we have an hurricane, an disaster, can I pick up a gun? Huh? Huh? Come on, attention. Mr. Gunther, I am not saying that the Prime Minister Amy Cameron, because even though nobody is perfect on the earth, but for me, I will close my eye any night or any day and give back the Unitarian Party, the country, for one again, for the next 5 years. Because you Yeah, all them lady people there. Them not coming lady. Look up lady. All them lady. You cannot put this country in the hand of some people. No, you can't do it. But my God to you, brother, and to the opposition. Opposition, Secretary Pepper market is gonna be sick. One big sick in you. $60, brother. You better believe it. It's still coming. God bless you.
Thank you for your call. We have a caller? Another caller. So, as I was saying, I think that the ULP will win the next general elections that will be held before the end of 2025. We do not yet know the date, but I think that they would. My call is 8-7. That's just my good night. We have a caller. Welcome to Feedback.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
I just want to say, you see this election here? It's like 2001. When the people ask for train and ULP win, don't care what get anybody right now. They're getting licks. I can tell you right now, in all the meetings, and I got bet you right now, this election, if you ain't watch yourself, one time movie people. I hear you saying some kind of thing, you know? Remember, my Chevron moved by 60 something votes, and she doing better now. And even the African man in South Wembley, and the young gonna beat the boy real bad. I don't talk about one vote. Then shout down with him. It's Lex. Don't care what you want to say. If you let crowd, they're in Camp Park, and that's young people. That's young people, right? And when they come in here this morning, want to know all the young people still voting for MDP. Them young people that cannot ULP. Don't give it to them. You get them house, you get them fridge, you get them all. If you no vote, your track record should be top. Not
Hello, we lost that caller. We seem to have lost that caller. But what I would like to say to that caller is that elections are not won. Oh, good night. Good night. Welcome to Feedback.
Hi, Life. How are you? Good evening.
Hey, good evening. How are you?
Not too bad. I don't have a feedback there.
No, you don't.
Yeah. This is Gerald Thompson.
Hey, good night, Dr. Thompson.
A very nice analysis, and sadly, I missed quite a bit of it. Okay. But I got the impression that the sum total that you had was that the ULP was going to win the majority of seats.
Yeah, 8-7.
I didn't quite get what you had for the Southern Grenadines. You did spend some time, but I didn't get the final analysis. But I wanted to say that it was good that you gave the various voting registrations, the number of people who actually voted, because this is a factor that's often ignored. For various reasons, there are a number of persons that have not voted. Some don't vote because they think you've already won already. They still support the party. Others are dissatisfied, one reason or the other. And others, there's movement, whether you're overseas, you've moved back, you're students, or whatever the case might be. Mm-hmm. This actually accounts for a fair amount of voting. And so margins, and so sometimes the old margins may look in a particular way. I think your analysis was quite conservative and was an analysis that most people make. And that's your analysis.
Yeah.
But I think that in a number of areas, especially in that South Leeward, I think you are absolutely right in that the NDP candidate in the North, who I know very well, has faded, and the esteem to which that person was held earlier on, especially because of West Indies cricket and the losses and so forth, as well as a number of other factors I'm not going to go into, it take too long.
Yeah.
I think that seat is always going to be quite competitive, and that Carlos is actually going to win.
Right.
Now, in Southern Grenadines, do you know the impact of James Mitchell in terms of going down there and pulling out votes, literally pulling out votes? It's the sad loss of, I got to say that, of Sir James. That is a big factor, and that's why you're seeing the Southern Grenadines being so competitive. And so just look at the old figures and the margins is not really what it is. And so I'm bringing into the picture a lot of these other things. Now, I just want to just quickly, because it's at the end of the program,
Right.
you know, this whole thing about the port, I don't understand. Now, do you know there's still people who are saying we should have extended Arnavale to Rock Nancy and be satisfied with a jet port? And that should have satisfied a small nation like ours. And they don't quite understand what the impact of AIA has had in terms of being able to bring in now 5 and later on 6 major airlines in one day, you know? And the impact, that ripple impact it has had in relation to hotels and development and guest houses and people getting to Airbnb. It's phenomenal what has taken place, and you're right in terms of Carlos James being applauded very much in this regard. Of course, other people would have contributed in relation to this.
Definitely.
But in relation to the port, somebody coming and saying that, well, the port building was built sometime with a customs building. Do you mean that they're going to abandon the building and let bats and moths and so forth be inside there? Buildings are always utilized, whether some other entity moves in. And for the port itself, I don't think people, and you're right, James at the port would have explained, how do you repair a port? Is there some other port? In other words, do you move down fully to Camden Park?
Right.
We've been partially moved down to Camden Park, and Camden Park is insufficient, the capacity and so forth. So how do you close down a port to repair it and still basically have it? The construction of a new port was so critical because of all the things in terms of opening up new lands for this and that. Let me stop there because you're there in your program. But I don't understand why people say it will cost less to do without understanding the full impact of what you're doing. Anyway, let me stop there, you know?
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks
a lot, sir.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Dr. Thompson. We are 2 minutes away from the end of the program. Feedback. I'm sitting in for Kingsley De Freitas. My name is Live Compton, and feedback is sponsored by Baz's Bar. Now, Mr. Thompson made a very interesting point. How do you repair a port? So basically, if we're going to repair the port, we had to close it. So what will happen? The economy would stall. So that was a very interesting point, and I never really spoke about. But finishing up with my analysis, so I'm basically, in my opinion, saying that the ULP would win the next general elections, 6 in a row, as we say, 8-7. I'm not a political analyst. I'm not a politician. I'm just a observer, and that is solely my opinion. I'm not saying the candidate that beats the other candidate that anything is wrong with them. That's just my opinion. Everybody brings something to whatever endeavor they choose to take part in. And sometimes I wish our system, our political system, was one where all politicians could work together, because there are politicians on the NDP side that I think would add to the ULP in relation to governance. And I also think that if the NDP is governing, there are politicians on the ULP side that definitely add to the NDP. So once again, it's October 14th, and we've come to the end of another edition of Feedback. My name is Leif Compton, and I was sitting in for Kingsley De Freitas. Enjoy the rest of the night. Thanks.
It's Feedback with host Kingsley De Freitas. This and every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. for 2 full hours, right here on WeFM 99.9. Join him as he brings different guests weekly on this informative and interactive program. It's Feedback. To be a part of the Feedback program, call us at 457-9997 or send us a WhatsApp at 457-9997. It's Feedback.
Whatever you are celebrating, birthdays, anniversaries, engagements, retirement, or just celebrating life, the place to be is at Basil's Bar Kingstown. Established for over 38 years, we are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with an exquisite ambiance. We have a set menu and 3 a la carte menus to choose from, and we are flexible to all requests. We go above and beyond to serve you. Basil's Bar Kingstown, where it's more than just a meal, it's an adventure. Call for reservations at 457-2713.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Chris Kelly, and you're listening to WEFM 99.9, the clean, fresh sound of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Keep it locked. Chris Kelly says so.
While you're talking and talking and talking about me, I'll be pressing on, doing my thing. I'm telling you, please don't touch me. God don't put you to watch me. He don't like ugly, so tell them keep their eyes off me. Off me. You got ballet, 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 ballet. You ballet, 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 ballet. I cannot say what I want to say. I want to say what I want to say. I cannot say what I want to say. I really want to say it. People don't know ya, but they won't judge you. They talking about ya. Must be something about you. Smile in your face and talking you bad and making up things that far from the fact. While you're talking and talking and talking about me, I'll be pressing on, doing my thing. I'm telling you, please don't touch me. God don't put you to watch me. He don't like ugly, so tell them keep their eyes off me. Off me, off me, off me. You got ballet, 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 ballet. It's on me. Ballet, 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 ballet. It's on me. You think it's easy? They bad mind and envy. Take a walk in my shoes, then let me hear you. They playing insane and talking you bad and don't bring talk that far from the facts. While you're talking and talking and talking about me, I'll be pressing on, doing my thing. I'm telling you, please don't touch me. God don't put you to watch me. He don't like ugly, so tell them keep their eyes on me. You got ballet, 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 ballet. what I want to say. I wanna say what I want to say. I cannot say what I want to say. I really wanna say it. At the back of your mind, you want to say this sometimes. And let me say what I want to say. I really wanna say it. I'm begging you, please don't judge me. Gonna put you to watch me. He don't like ugly, so tell them keep their eyes off me. Mind your business. Look in your house and fix it. TJ, oh yeah, international. Na 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 na. I'm not leaving, that's impossible to do. Cause if you want me to go, you can't be looking the way you do. You can't be cooking the way you do. You can't be hooking me. If you want me to go, you can't be looking the way you do. You can't be walking the way you do. Because you're hooking me. Come on. I don't know what to do, so I'm pleading. Plus you ain't give me no reason. You tell me this the end of the season. Mash up we think dress so. But you don't understand when you watch me. I said I see that I win the lottery. How you go pick up dress so and then dump me? No, baby, no. But your back on me clothes in a garbage bag. You put it on the ground by the roadside. You turn the cat out your place to come inside. Baby, no.